Good afternoon. I want to welcome you, everyone, to our fourth FCF Town Hall with the CEO of 2020. I get very excited about doing these. We haven't worked out all the kinks. There's always some technical difficulties, and we're getting better each week, but we still have those. But I'm excited about the people that we have with us. I always seem to be excited about this. One of the most important parts of our efforts and why we're doing this type of town hall during the COVID-19 pandemic is to maintain communication, as I always say, with our stakeholders and with people who provide services and us providing our services to our participants. And we'll always announce that because it's the most important reason to do these town halls and to bring you great people so that you can talk to. We started off with a great with a bang last week, and having David Gill and Steve John and Dan Baldwin on, who gave us both information and insight into kind of how they're handling the COVID-19 pandemic with our nonprofits and how the business community is handling it. And so we just keep getting better, and today is no different. But before I introduce all of the panelists, and maybe we'll have Dale Curry, who's having a slight technical difficulty, into the group, we're going to put our poll up and let you get that out the way. And if you would take the time to answer the poll, we would appreciate it. And since Dale hasn't popped in yet, I get to tell a story. That very question that we're asking is how important is knowing how to play golf for your professional career. Extremely important or somewhat important, not important at all. I don't want to give you too much of the story because if I do, it's going to probably sway your vote, but I'll let you make your own opinion. Me and Dale were out at Longview Country Club one time, and we were going out to play golf, and he was going out to play. I was going out to hit the ball in the woods. And we ran into the club pro, and he says, "Hey, Dale, I'm sorry, the club is closed today. We have a tournament out here, but there's a CEO here of a company, and if you and your friend would like to play with him, he would love for you all to join his team and play in the tournament." So Dale turned to me and said, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Oh, that's great, man. I just want to play golf." And so we linked up with these two gentlemen, and they were very nice people, and we got along real well. And midway through the round, after they had gotten to know us a little bit better, the CEO said, "What type of socks you have on there?" And I said, "Well, I just got on a pair of footy." I said, "They're a little worn. I don't have a whole lot." And he says, "Well, I just so happen to own the largest sock manufacturer in the Southeast." And he says, "Why don't I send you a couple of cases of socks, of footies?" And I was expecting a couple of cases, maybe a couple of dozen, 12 or 24. And when the box came, there were 250 pairs of footies in each box. And needless to say, my family didn't have to buy footies for the next few years, and we were able to supply the community. But the whole emphasis of the story is that CEO like that wouldn't give you 15 minutes in his office, but on a golf course, he'll give you 4 hours. And within that 4 hour period of time, he liked me and Dale well enough that he wanted to give us something in return, just to say, "Hey, thanks, you guys are good people." And so I know he sent me those 2 boxes. I know he sent Dale a box. And that's why I think golf is important. The relationships that you make on the court, the people that you meet, and the time that you get to spend with individuals, you get to find out who those people kind of are, their character, and something about them. So that's why that question came up, and I'm looking forward to see how the poll looks in a few moments once they do the tally. So I guess that'll be happening soon. And there it is, extremely important, 19%, not important at all, 19%, important, 41%, somewhat important, 22%. So I think I can say with ease that people think, playing golf and knowing how to play golf is important. And you don't have to be great. You just got to be able to hit the ball. And that's all you need to do is keep it moving down the fairway. And you'll find out that you will not be left out of a lot of important meetings if you can play golf. So anybody who doesn't play is never too late. You should start to learn. You can call our first tee office of Monterey County and ask about some lessons and some help with that, and they can get you involved and get your children involved. More importantly, because that game will help you out. I can't tell you the numerous relationships that I've established just because I play golf. Of the people I've met that I would have never met in most situations. Uh, well, I get to do this because we've been talking back and forth, and I know these two people I'm about to introduce, and I know the third person very well. Um, and they are our guests today, and we just have. I'm just impressed with the work that they've done and that I've seen them do in a short period of time that I've known the two people. The first person is Andrea Bailey. She is a community engagement manager at Chevron for the Bay Area. And if I screwed that up, Andrea, let me know. You can correct it later. I'm sure Mike won't get too mad at me. But I'm just excited about her because I've never seen someone come into a community and have everyone talk about the impact that she or a person is having through a company, or that she in her case is having through Chevron in the community. And that is a great statement to have when you go to other people and they go, hey, do you know Andre Bailey? And I go, yeah, kind of, yeah, I do. And then they go, well, I just want to tell you, you got to meet her. She's great. Now I say, oh, I know her. And then, I let them brag on her for a while and see what they're going to say, and they say a lot of great things. And she really has been a shot in the arm for the nonprofits and for the community as a whole. And the time that she puts out into the community with charity events and supporting them. You just don't want to sit at a table though, because if you sit at a table, you're going to spend at least $500 when you sit next to her at a charity event. So, and if you don't believe me, you can ask Ron Johnson, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. So I try to make sure that I sit at other people's tables. She invites me. I say, oh, can I sit with these people? I know them over there too. I might spend a couple of $100, but she backs it up with her own money, her own personal money when she goes to these charities. And Chevron is usually involved with some of the charities, and even when they're not, she's there. So I'm really happy to have her be a part of this discussion and answer some of the questions that we'll get to shortly. The next person, and I've been having fun with Jennifer because I've been saying, oh, Jennifer, I don't want to screw your name up in front of everybody, you know. But Jennifer DeQuisto, who is the Senior Vice President with Bank of America for the Monterey Bay market. She has been a person that I've met just probably about 6 or 7 months ago, and a relationship has developed. I met her at the AT&T, and it kind of moved on from there. We do business with Bank of America, so I've also known, her from, that standpoint too. She's not my banker. I deal with Andrea Gage, uh, who is a banker, and but I've met her through her. But she continues to be a person that I, want to know better and better and get to know more and more, because I've been doing my due diligence, and the charity work that she's doing on behalf of the bank in support of our charities is much like Andrea's. She's at all the events. She gets out. She's supportive. She comes out to your facilities and checks it out for herself. She doesn't send somebody to check it out and give her a report back. And so, that type of passion about, what you're doing, and how you're spending valuable corporate dollars to support the community is important. And someone also knows very well the organization that they're giving money to. So those two people, I'm really, really happy to have. Now, this other guy who we don't have on line yet, and not we don't have him up yet. He can hear us. We just can't see him. Uh, but Dale Curry, Steph Curry's dad, as most people already know. But way before he was Steph Curry's dad, Dale Curry was a 16-year veteran in the NBA. He played for the Charlotte Hornets. I met him when he came from Cleveland to Charlotte, and I've known him for 32 years. And for 32 years, he's been a great friend. He's never told me no when it comes to charitable work and helping out and putting his money and his time into something to help young people, particularly people who are in poverty and of need. And that's where Steph gets it from. You know, people say, "Oh, Steph's a charitable guy." Well, he gets it from his dad and his mom, Sonia. That's the kindness of their heart. That's them. When you see him do stuff, that's because that's how they raised him. When you see him, you know, having a passion and a love for all people, that's his mom and dad teaching him that way. So the diversity of people that you'll see Steph surround himself with, the causes that you'll see him get involved with, it's a direct reflection of Dale and Sonia, his mom and dad. And they've been a good role model for me and my young people and how I have my kids get involved. Um, you know, I will say this about Dale. He works with the Charlotte Hornets. He's an NBA analyst, but he's not the best athlete in the house. Matter of fact, he might be the fourth best athlete. I think the order goes, his daughter Sadell is probably the best athlete out of all the athletes in the house. Then I would say his wife Sonia is the second best athlete in the house. And then I'll say it's Seth, who plays for the Dallas Mavericks, and then it's Steph, and then it's Dale. Now I don't know. When he gets on here, I'll let him have some debate about that later. But I'm just happy to have him as a friend. He loves what we do in the community. Him and Steph used to do a basketball tournament in the Monterey, excuse me, basketball camp in the Monterey Peninsula area for several years. So they know our area well. And the owner of the Warriors also lives at Pebble Beach. So Dale and Sonia get to come up sometime and stay there and play golf and enjoy Monterey County. So I'm happy to have Dale here, and I'm glad he's taken some time out of his busy schedule to be with us. I'm happy to have Jennifer, and I'm happy to have Andrea all with us. So I'll get to the main reason why we're all here is to hear, you know, some questions and get to the Q&A and let them be able to address some of the questions that we have. And we have a lot of questions. We won't be able to get to all of them in our time period. So I'll ask the voice, Jacob, can you start with the first question?
So the first question we have is actually a video question from one of our participants.
Oh, okay, great. Looking forward to hearing that.
Hey Jennifer, Andrea, and Dell. My name is Derek Gow, and I am an alumni of the First Team Monterey County. Thank you guys so much for supporting our program and for doing this panel today. My question is for all three of you guys, and that is, how has golf positively impacted you and your family? And what is some advice for children that want to get involved in our program, but also want to play this great game of ours?
Did everyone hear the question? And if not, Jacob, you can repeat it real quick.
The question was, how has golf positively impacted you and your family? And what is some advice for children that you want to get involved in our programs and play this great game of ours?
Well, I'll start. This is Andrea. Well, I don't play golf, and obviously, Bill, I need to step up my game so I can have those kind of relationships in the community. But Chevron's a big supporter of golf tournaments throughout the U.S. Locally, we support the AT&T Pro-Am and the Pure Insurance Golf Tournaments, as well as the First Team of Monterey County and Future Citizens Foundation. As many of you may know, those of you that have attended the tournaments, we have what's called our Chevron STEM Zone, which is an interactive mobile space where teachers, students, parents, and the community can come and learn how STEM concepts are connected to sports and everyday life, and how that can unlock the critical thinking and skills and creativity necessary to pursue STEM careers of the future. And, you know, even if you're not a golf pro, I think understanding something about angles and aerodynamics and engineering can take your game to new levels, and not just on the green and the fairways, but in life. And that's why Chevron supports golf, and especially golf for youth. In fact, that same knowledge that golfers use to elevate their game can also put kids on a clear course to success. through STEM and hands-on project-based activities. And additionally, as part of these tournaments and in partnership with the Monterey Peninsula Foundation, Chevron has a program called the Eagles for Education. And both the Eagles for Education program and the STEM Zone are part of Chevron's global education commitment to increasing access to and quality of STEM education and technical training. And in fact, since 2011, Chevron's Eagles for Education program has raised more than $3.2 million that all benefits nonprofits in Monterey County. So we're really proud to support golf. And Bill, I'll have to come out there and take you up on that and kind of learn some golf.
You're welcome. And Jennifer, you want to take that question next?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to build on what Andrea said, which is, Bank of America is also a big supporter of golf across the country and certainly right here in the Monterey Bay. We also sponsor the AT&T Pro-Am every year. We were a big sponsor of the U.S. Open that was recently held here in Monterey, but also held annually. But, I think so much of it, too, is about the life skills that you can develop when you are a golfer. And that's actually primarily why Bank of America is so invested and interested in partnering and supporting Future Citizens Foundation and the First Tee program, because locally, what we really focus on as part of our local strategy is workforce development. And you can learn so much about perseverance and discipline, concentration, strategy, focus, patience, self-forgiveness, in golf. And, as Bill said earlier, just the networking involved in golf is also really critical. So I know, and I'm sure many of you are familiar, but golf, the lessons that children learn when they learn golf, it carries over into their academics. They are able to concentrate better. They are higher performing students. And those lessons they're lifelong lessons, and they set these kids up for success. So I think one of the questions also talks about children, and so that's why we're focused on that. And just from my own personal experience, aside from taking golf lessons, although I'm not a very good golfer yet, it's taught me perseverance, right? I mean, you go out there every day. It's really a game against yourself, and you just try to improve every day. And it's also something, I have two children, they're 10 and 12, and they're involved in golf for the very same reason.
Well, I'll piggyback on all those great answers. And, golf has become a very big part of my family with the kids. It's a great way, one, to raise productive resources in your individual charities in your community. But for me, I got involved in the game when I was about 26, 27, and I found out that by getting my kids involved, it helped create honesty, integrity, character. And the old saying goes, if you really want to find out what a person is like, take them to the golf course, because it can bring out all this kind of frustrations and everything in a person. And Steph often talks about a lesson I taught him when he hit a ball that wasn't his. We got up to the green, and how I penalized him for that. I sent him to the clubhouse. He tells that story all the time, and he's become a big ambassador for the junior PGA. Seth, my son who lives in Dallas, has joined the club there. So we're heavily involved in the game, not for our personal reasons, just for our personal reasons, but also for the communities that we live in. Again, it's a great way to build relationships with those in your family and those outside of your family to really find out the integrity, character, and the honesty that each individual has involved in them.
Jacob, you want to shoot another question out real quick?
Yes, our next question is for Dale, and it is a video question as well.
Hi, my name is Angel, and I am a sixth grader at Lincoln Elementary, and I'm also a member of the First Tee of Monterey County. And my question to you, Mr. Curry, is who do you think is the best golfer in your family?
Angel.
Remember, Dale, remember I'm here, so you answer that
Yeah.
carefully.
Well, great question, Angel. I'll start in reverse order. Seth has really gotten serious about golf. I mentioned he joined a club in Dallas. He's really improved his game. Of course, being the father, I was the best one for a long time. Stephen caught me and
There
passed
you go.
me
There
very
we go.
quickly.
You got to put that in. Was you hear he
But
said was?
But I am gaining on him right now. I've had a lot of opportunity to play some golf with the COVID-19 pandemic, and I've gotten my handicap down to a level where I can't play that well every day. So unfortunately, I haven't gotten to play with my kids as much as I'd like to during the summertime. We normally play a lot together, but because we're kind of stuck in our respective states, we haven't had a chance to play. So I'll go Stephen. I'm a close second, and Seth is improving, trying to gain on it.
Oh my Lord! He just said he was a close second.
Bill,
I
I'm
think
going to screen.
if you caught
screen.
losing by 5 or 6 strokes every time you play, close second. I
Bill, you
guess
need to play with us. You need to play with us a little more. You haven't played with us in some time being on the West Coast, but I'm real close behind him. That's the competitiveness coming out in me.
I remember how good you used to be. I remember when Michael Jordan was begging us to pull over so he could try to play you after you had just whipped him. He was trying to get you to play some more golf, but you had to get back to take care of a banquet that you and Sonya had committed to go to. And I remember MJ was saying, "Hey, pull over. I can get us on any club right now. Right now." We're all headed back to Charlotte, and we didn't do it, but I thought you were going to do it. Now back then, you were really good. But now, compared to what Steph is doing, I don't know if you're a close second. I say you're. I can understand you saying second. The close part kind of.
I'll say this:
he doesn't have the next question. Jacob, next question. I'm sorry, it's getting personal in here.
He doesn't have the time to play like I do right now, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Our next question is for Jennifer, and it is also from one of our participants.
Hello, my name is Ari Klosky. I'm 17, and my question for Mr. Quisto is, being a woman, maybe a minority of general, can you speak to the challenges you've overcome in acquiring a senior leadership position and any advice you have to offer a woman in business today? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really great question. Thank you for asking me. When I reflect back on my life, I would say the biggest challenge, honestly, as a young woman or a young girl, was I'm the first person in my family to go to college. I had wonderful parents, but they didn't go to college. They didn't attend college. I really didn't have somebody in my family sort of guiding my way. And I was lucky enough to have a mentor that, through my aunt, that sort of took me under her wing and showed me, why education is important, and really encouraged me to apply to college and persevere. And, honestly, it was very difficult. I worked full time all through college. I paid my own way. I worked full time and I graduated in 4 years. So I didn't really have the fun college experience so many people that I know did. But I was determined to get through school and to succeed. And I really believe that determination and that perseverance sort of has stayed with me over the years. And I've always felt, hard work has never been a bad thing, right? You can always work really hard. And if you have a goal in mind, you can achieve it. It won't come easy. You may have to work a lot of long hours or work harder than other people. But it's important to set goals and to believe in yourself and to work at it every single day. And, I think an early lesson for me right out of high school, honestly, was going to school and making it work, even though it was not easy. I mean, there were many times that I wanted to give up, but as I said, I persevered. And by not giving up, I grew in confidence and I began to believe in myself. And that, you know, just building on that throughout my life has led me to where I am today.
Andrea, you want to tackle that next?
I a lot of the same things that Jennifer said. I went to college later in life because I got married early and had kids. So it was really hard juggling work and career and school and kids and family. And I think for me, the most that I learned out of that was perseverance. I look back and, you know, I don't know how I did it, but it really did develop a strength in me that I don't think I would have had otherwise. And I think just being, you know, a Black female in the workplace, being a female in the workplace can be challenging sometimes, especially in my industry where it's very heavily dominated. But being a Black female, you know, even exacerbates that. So like Jennifer said, you know, I work really hard. I try to do the best that I can. I try to do, you know, work more, work harder, and I think more importantly, try to give back and pull up those coming behind me that look like me or that are young girls to, you know, help give them that courage that you can do this, it's possible.
Next question. My question for everybody is, all three panelists, during this pandemic, you know, nonprofits are hurting. They're trying to, you know, survive, a lot of them. People, you know, are, you know, desperate to put food on the table for their families. Just give me kind of the experience that all three of you have had and what you all have been able to do either personally or through your companies to try to address, you know, this current environment around that. Dale, you want to go first?
Yeah, well, there's so many people that are affected right now through this pandemic. I've worked with people with my church trying to help the community here in Charlotte. I know Steph and Aisha are doing their part in the Bay Area, really helping out people through their charity Eat, Learn, and Play. And my wife as well. We still own a school here that's been affected. So we're just, you know, trying to keep everybody's spirits up, keep them as positive as possible, and just let them know that we're there for whatever they need. We're all, another saying, we're all in this together, and we truly are. We've got to just stay strong, stay positive, make sure that our mental health is there. That's just as important as our physical health. So we've just been getting out. I've been getting out as much as I can when I go out, just saying hey to people, how are you doing today, making sure you're okay, but just trying to let them see that, hey, that we will get through this. And we feel for everybody in our community that's struggling. So we just got to help in any way we can.
Andrea, you want to take this next?
Sure. You know, we've got all of our employees working remotely, and Chevron, of course, has been continuing to invest in communities where we operate. We've invested directly to a lot of the COVID-19 efforts in many of the communities that we have operations in locally. We've made a $100,000 commitment to the food bank. They've been working tirelessly trying to feed families that have food insecurities throughout all of this. We also, Chevron has a program called Chevron Even Kind, where we match 100% of any donations that our employees live and or give. And we have over 45,000 employees, so that's a lot of employees giving money. And Chevron will match up to $10,000, 100% match up to $10,000 per employee as they give. And during this COVID-19 pandemic, we changed that to a 2-to-1 match. So we had a lot of our employees out there either donating money or volunteering for efforts, you know, like food distribution, people, helping the homeless, helping deliver meals, helping kids with distance learning, doing, online workshops around STEM and those kinds of things. And so we will continue those efforts in the community. And I think now, more than ever, just continuing the status quo as it is, as we're out, as far as our level of investment that we make in a community is important to us, even though we might be looking at other ways to reduce our expenditures. We want to make sure that we support our nonprofit communities.
Jennifer?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what has already been said. At Bank of America, the reality is there's a lot of pain, right? We share a deep sense of pain and loss across the country, certainly right here in our local community. And the reality is that the COVID-19 pandemic is intensifying disparities, economic and social disparities, and we all need to do more. Bank of America recently announced a $1 billion commitment payable over a 4-year period, and it will go to drive economic opportunity, healthcare initiatives, and racial equity or racial equality. Locally, right here in Monterey Bay, year to date, we've invested nearly $200,000 with local nonprofits to address the COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, we've partnered with Natividad, Dorothy's Place to help the vulnerable in our communities. And then, as Andrea said, food insecurity has increased tremendously over the last few months. And so we have invested with all of the local food banks to make sure people had the basic needs, that people could eat. We will continue to work. We had a conversation yesterday with our employees across the market. We are looking at additional investments and ways we can get involved and really be strategic and make impact, because it is so important, the work we do with our nonprofit partners.
Thank you. Dale, I got a question, Jacob, and we only have time for, one more question after this question. Dale, my question to you is, talking about, coming from an area where a rural area where you grew up, just the impact that, having, a good structure, a father who, poured a lot into you, and what it means for, youth organizations to pour into people who were like me, who didn't have a father in the home. Can you just speak upon that real quick, and then we'll get to the last question. I know we have one more question for Andrea and for Jennifer too.
Well, it's a great question. With Father's Day right around the corner, my favorite holiday of the year. But you're right. I had a strong mother and father. They worked at General Electric for 24 and 22 years respectively. Got up, and I saw them get up every morning and go to work. That's one reason why I wanted to go to college. I was the only. I have 4 older sisters. I was the only one to go to college, and I promised my mom and dad that because my college was paid for through a scholarship that I would finish. So I played 16 years in the NBA, won a lot of awards, but finishing my degree and seeing the smile on my mom and dad's face was my biggest reward at 56 years old in a couple of weeks that I have. So yeah, the old saying, it takes a village to raise a kid. I was in a tight community like that. I knew I had to be on my best behavior, whether my parents were there or not. That's one thing I tried to instill in my kids, that hey, somebody's always watching you, and you never know who it is, and it'll get back to me if you're not conducting yourself like you would if your parents are there. So yeah, that's the old thing. I just tried to instill in them, hey, just try to be the best person you can be. Your character, your integrity will go a long way in life, regardless of what occupation you're in. Work hard, study hard, be the best person you can be, set that foundation, and you'll have doors open where you can be successful in life, be ready to walk through those doors with confidence when they open up and they are available.
Yeah, thank you. Jacob, we're going to have the last question asked, and then I'm going to wrap it up and, thank everybody for taking time out of their hectic schedule and coming to spend some time with us in this town hall. So Jacob, this is the last question, and I'm sorry, I know we have numerous other questions that we aren't going to be able to get to, and I apologize, but 30 minutes goes by quick. We extended the time a little bit because we're having technical difficulties with Dale's, reception. So Jacob, last question.
The last question is also a video question that comes from one of our alumni.
My name is Alexander Inyakov. I'm 18 years old. My question for you is, who is your role model and how did they help you achieve your goals?
Was that for me?
That's for all three of you all.
I'll start. I've had many different role models for many different reasons, and at different stages of my personal life and professional career. I think as you grow and mature, things change. Jobs may change, life situations may change, people in your life may change. And along that journey, you're continuing to sharpen and develop your skills in many areas, and your abilities, and hopefully on a continual basis. And so I think it's important to have role models that are reflective of those characteristics and skills that you want in yourself, that you see for yourself. I think it's important to be agile and kind of adapt to those life change and career changes that happen. And I think having a role model at those different stages in your life is important. And it could be the same role model, or for me, in my case, it was many different role models along the way. It's been a parent on occasion, it's been a friend on occasion, it might have been a professor on occasion, it could have been someone at work on occasion, and again, for different reasons. And I think, a role model should be someone that inspires you. And so I was thinking about this question, and my current role models are actually my children, who are all now adults. And every day I'm in awe and inspired by their courage and by their integrity, by their intelligence, and their just care and empathy for the world and what's happening in the world. I continue to be moved by their passion for life, their fearlessness, which is amazing, and the successes that they've had. They're all, have higher degrees, and they're all settled, and more importantly, they're all out of the house, and they're not in my checkbook, in my pocketbook anymore. and I think finally, I
Watch it. You begin to sound like Dale now. See, don't let him influence you. Please don't let him influence you, because you're starting to sound like him with that statement.
But I think, I just, they're beautiful, amazing young adults. I have 2 daughters and 1 son, and I think finally I'm just proud to be their mother. And so those are my role models currently.
And Jennifer?
I think that's a really great answer, by the way, Andrea, because I think that's true. I think, if I look over my life, I don't just have one role model, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, depending on the time of your life or where you are in your life, your role model can look different. But there has been one that has been there from the very beginning, and that's my mom. And the thing that I most admire and have learned so much from my mother is that she's so strong. She taught me to be strong, and she taught me to be independent, and she taught me to believe in myself. And, my mom did not have an easy childhood. She had a very difficult childhood, and in spite of it all, she's been incredibly successful and an amazing mother. And so I think I learned about, being strong and independent and self-reliant from her. And I also think I learned how to be a good mom from her. And that for me is the most important job I have, is being a good mother to my children.
Well, I'll
Well,
jump in and let Dale answer this question because I'm eager to hear what he says.
well, first of all, I agree with Andrea with the kids out of your wallet. I'm so proud of all my kids. Not only are they're all married. I'm a 4-time grandfather. But they're all making an impact in their communities that they live in. They understand the importance of giving back. So I'm so proud of what they're able to do. But my role models growing up was one of my parents, especially my father. With me having 4 older sisters, I was with him constantly. He always took me with him wherever he went, just so I would get away from out of the house with my mom and my sisters. So he was not only my best friend, but my role model as well before he passed. But I've had numerous coaches that have been role models to me. But I'll go back to in college. My college advisor was really a role model for me. He influenced me. He encouraged me. He inspired me. He helped me. He knew how important my degree was to me, and he helped me. He was right there with me the entire time, helping me get that degree. And I kid him all the time. I'm like, Bill, whenever you call me, you're on scholarship for what you've done for me in college. So when you, as a young kid, when you see somebody doing the right things, acting the right way, I think you should pay attention and try to emulate that person as a role model. But I think the role models really start inside the home and then can expand and be a pretty big part of your life once you leave the home. But for me, my parents were the biggest role models.
Yeah, I mean, Dale, we take that, to heart. We got 10,000 kids that we served last year. And, one of the things that I really feel good about our staff is that they all think like that all the time. We're always on. We are all role models, despite what some people say, Chuck. And we have to always feel that way because somebody's watching. I had a little guy come up to me one time and he said, "Hey, you're Mr. Shelton." And now I don't think of myself like that. And he says, "I can't believe I'm meeting you. They said you the big guy." And I said, "No, I'm just a team member, but I appreciate you saying that." He said, "No, you're the big guy." And I said, "You know what? You're the big guy." And, but somebody's watching you. And he said, "Mr. Shelton, I watched how you were just talking to everybody." And he says, "You're a nice person, aren't you?" I said, "I try to be. My grandmother raised me that way." And my wife instills in me each day to try to become a better person. And so that's what I do. So, role models, for me they happen for me all the time. I gain role models every time I gain a great relationship. I gain a great role model. David Gill has been a great role model for me. I watch how humble he is. And a lot of people with his means aren't that humble, but he is so humble you would know that he has the means to help so many people. Bruce Taylor has been the same way. Those guys have become, role models. So, Dale's humbleness, as humble as Dale used to be, and I watched him. I watched him when he was sixth man of the year. I remember that. Well, he changed not one bit. I mean, he was the same guy who's, not gonna buy a new car till he drives this car for 3 or 4 years. Says, hey, to his wife, "You're not getting that new Volkswagen convertible until I sign my next contract." And I was like, wow, he cares about, his finances. He cares about his family. He doesn't take things for granted. He doesn't take people for granted. He doesn't let success go to his head. And so Dale has been a role model for me like that for a long time. So that's why, I wanted to get him on and have him talk about and express to our young people who are listening in and even to our adults. We got a pretty good house of people in here tonight listening in, for him to express that to people, because not a lot of people get to hear this side of Dale. And so to have him on and have you all on, Andrea, your energy, you talk about role modeling, so I learn from different people each day. And I pick up new role models all the time. So I don't have one. and my next great relationship will probably be another role model in my life. So, I think it expands as you grow older and as you meet more people. Well, folks, I thank you all so much. I'm so excited because next week we get to have next Thursday another great group of people on here. We get to have Jackie, Susie, and Ron Johnson, all humble people, just like the people I have on the show today, but all people who are doing great things for young people in our community and for adults in our community. So I can't wait to have all three of them on next week and ask them some of the questions from the community and from our young people and from me. So next Thursday at 3 o'clock, we'll do this again, and hopefully we'll start testing Ron's video earlier because Ron is a lot like Dale, former NFL Philadelphia Eagle. I won't hold that against him. My son loves that, but we'll start working with Ron earlier. But I just want to thank
Well,
all of you all for here you go. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say I apologize for not having the video, but it's probably a good thing because I haven't had a haircut in about 3 months. I'm not the best. I'm not groomed quite right yet.
You probably did that on purpose then. So, but again, Dale, I thank you. I appreciate the support that your family always gives, that Steph and Seth always give me, and Sonia, and always has given me. His wife served on my board for 3 years when she was at her busiest time of her life. She still came out and did that for me because I needed her. So I thank you, man, for that. And no, I don't get to play golf with you guys as much anymore. And I'll check with Seth and check on your golf game and get a second opinion about how good that is right now, and some other people. So I thank you all for coming on. I thank you for your time. We'll be doing this next week at the same time, and 3 o'clock next Thursday. I look forward to having Susie, Jackie, and Ron on. And then the following week, we got some special guests coming on, some NFLers coming on to talk about achieving success over adversity. Come from one guy played high school football with me, has 6 Super Bowl rings. So he gets to come on in a few weeks and tell kids about, hey, you always can be successful. Just look at me, look what I overcame because of great people and programs like you all offer. Steph's has a great program, and what he's doing in the Bay Area is unbelievable. And what you two are doing in the Monterey area is unbelievable. And what Dale, you and Sonia are doing in Charlotte is unbelievable. So I look forward to, keeping this going. And I look forward to getting you on later in the year too, because we're probably going to continue to do this. So have a great weekend. Be safe. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks a lot.
Bill, before we dismiss the voice here, I want to share a comment from one of our participants in our teens program to our guest panelists and to our staff. You are all great people. Keep doing what you are doing. You are some of the people I look up to. Thank you so much. I love you all. Stay safe and wash your hands.
All right.
I saw that pop up in the
Thanks
chat.
a lot. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot,
Have a
guys.
good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Take care.
you guys. Bye.
Bye.